Today we're blessed with the opportunity to sit down with an excellent bassist on the jazz scene and on the music scene in general, Marcus Miller. Now, Marcus, you're here at Newport. I'm sure you've been here many, many times, but you're here with your band and you just played an excellent concert. Tell us a little bit about Newport and your past experiences here at Newport.
Well, to be honest, this is my second time
Really?
only at
Wow.
Newport. Yeah, we played here maybe 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
And it was funny because when we played here 6 or 7 years ago, the soundboard, there's an engineer in the middle of the audience who makes sure that the sound that the people hear
Yeah.
is correct, and he sits on a board. And the board blew up during our concert
Oh,
6
wow.
or 7 years ago.
It's crazy.
So it was really nice to finally be here and have people actually be able to hear what
Yeah,
we do. So
yeah.
it's very nice.
I just saw your the conclusion of the concert and was watching the concert, and you guys are really on point, and the whole crowd was loving it. And what started out as a rainy morning turned into a sunny day, and it was just fantastic. You guys were really playing on your top game, and
It's a nice atmosphere here, man. Because you have the stage, you have the people, then you have the harbor right behind it. And this is a famous festival, so
yeah,
we've been hearing about that view for
sure.
years and years. So it's nice to experience it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you've worked with some legendary people, including the great Miles Davis. And tell us a little bit about Miles for historical perspective. Working with Miles, meeting Miles, some anecdotal stories.
Miles Davis was in retirement from the mid-'70s to the '80s. He didn't play a note, at least in public. And I don't think anyone was sure whether he'd ever play again. But the people at Columbia Records finally convinced him to make a comeback. And he's looking to put together a young band. And he found a sax player named Bill Evans. Bill Evans is also the name of a very famous piano player who played with Miles in the 50s. But this is a saxophonist in the early 80s named Bill Evans.
Through Dave Liebman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dave Liebman recommended Bill Evans. And Bill Evans became Miles' connection to the young scene in New York. And Bill Evans recommended me to Miles. And so Miles called me and asked me if I could show up at Columbia Studios to work with him. And you can imagine it's a pretty mind-blowing phone call to receive. And everybody who's gotten that phone call from Miles probably has experienced the same feeling, And I showed up at the studio, man. It was like a couple of hours between the phone call and the session.
Wow.
And I showed up at the studio, and he was there, and he was giving me cryptic directions, like gave me 2 notes, and he said, "That's it." And I'm going, wait, a whole song with just 2 notes, So I tried one way, and he shook his head no, and I tried another way, and he shook his head no, and I tried the third way. He didn't shake his head yes, but at least he didn't shake his head no. It was Al Foster on the drums, Barry Finnerty on the guitar, Sammy Figueroa on percussion, Bill Evans on the saxophone.
Wow.
And eventually Mike Stern came in, and that became the touring band. And also Mino Sinalou came in. So it was Mino on percussion, Al Foster on the drums, Mike Stern, guitar, Bill Evans on sax, and myself on bass.
Wow.
So it's a pretty incredible experience.
And working with Miles at that time in your life, and that time in his life, it must have been very inspiring for him to be touring and working with such young musicians who could kind of get him reinterested in the music, because he had been in retirement and been kind of depressed.
Yeah, I don't know. It never occurred to me that he was inspired. He was amused. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By what we were doing, and he was amused by all the mind trips that we had to go through in order to play with him, because he wasn't given specific direction. So if you weren't the kind of person who could figure things out for yourself, you had problems. So I think he enjoyed watching everybody go through that process.
Yeah. Well, Marcus, I know time is of the essence here, and we're wrapping down the day of the festival. But thank you so much for giving us a brief Miles Davis anecdote. And
No problem.
I'm sure we'll cross paths again. You had a close brush with death earlier this year, that accident, and we're just all very pleased that you guys were all okay.
Thank you. Yeah, we had a tour bus accident last November where the bus hit the side of a rail. The driver lost control of the bus. It hit the side railing and then flipped on its side. The driver unfortunately passed away.
Yeah.
Everyone else on the bus was injured, like bumps and bruises, a couple of broken ribs, stuff like that. But everybody else is mending well. And we're just very happy to have the opportunity to continue to play music, continue to be here, and share life with the people we love. So it's very much a blessing.
Well, any future projects before we finish up that people can look out for?
I'm producing, in the process of producing an album for Alex Hahn.
Excellent.
I do a radio show on Sirius XM every Sunday. It comes on about 9 p.m. Eastern Time, called Miller Time, and we have a good time on that show.
Excellent.
Let's see. I'm going to be starting to write a new album for myself after I finish with Alex's, and then hopefully I'm going to get on the road at the beginning of next year.
Excellent.
And visit everybody.
Yeah. Well, Marcus, thanks again, and we'll talk soon. Cats, check him out. Marcus Miller, real deal.